follow-up appointment because it's a racket. They got to keep you coming. It's never a one-shot deal. And I go to, are you a dentist? Okay, so you got some, I'm at the reception and she's making the appointment, the next appointment, and she writes it on time and the date on a card. She goes to hand me the card. I said, I don't need that. She goes, you're going to remember? I said, I don't need to remember because you're going to remind me. You're going to remind me like nobody's reminded me of anything in my life. I don't know what kind of sick abandonment issues you people have. I don't know. Did somebody not show up at the prom?
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast. I'm your host, Shelley Coleman, and you just heard Cory Kahaney, who is our guest this week. We're here with Cory and Leanne Lord. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
Leanne, it's been a while. Nice to see you.
Good to be back.
We were complaining earlier about the heat because in New York City, we're under the heat dome, which means Shelley does not go outside until like 9, 10 o'clock at night. So let's talk to Cory Kahaney. You have been doing comedy for 30x years, right?
I think it's going to be 32.
32 years.
In the fall, yeah.
Zoinks. And Leanne, you've been doing it for some large number of years also.
Oh, yes. I feel like if Cory started on a Monday, I started on a Tuesday. Like that's how close we are in New York City comedy time. Oh, wow.
I think you started maybe 2 years after me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that the kids see a difference, after about 20 years, we're all just in that group.
Right. Well, that's good because that's what this podcast is about. It's about that group. So, Cory, you are a native New Yorker, yes?
100%.
I want to say Brooklyn. Am I right?
Nope, Manhattan, whole way.
Really? Wow, you're even rarer than I am.
I was born in Mount Sinai Hospital on Fifth Avenue and 101st. And I have left. I lived in LA, as the kids like to say, I had heat once.
Which is different from heat stroke. That's a different kind of heat.
Exactly. It's the kind of heat you want. And I lived overseas because my father got transferred to Europe when I was a kid. So I had a little experience living outside of New York, but I always came back.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. So did you always want to be a comic? Sure. Was this your only career?
My family migrated to San Diego for high school years. And as soon as I could, I came back because I was going to be an actress and I didn't want to be a Hollywood actress. I wanted to be a Broadway actress and do serious, Chekhov and Shakespeare and things like that. And after 5 years, I think I made a grand total of, I want to say $50. And
wow.
But my livelihood was in the restaurant business. And so I didn't mind the restaurant business. I liked it. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to throw all my eggs in this basket and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let the dream die. And
that's probably what your parents wanted you to do, right?
My father had it in his mind that I would become an early childhood educator, which is hilarious because I had no interest in children at that point. But anyway, I became known as the funniest woman in food service. And fun fact, no one is looking for the funniest female in the food service. It's not an asset of any kind. I mean, it made me very likable to my staff. And so I was head of catering. And at one point, everything around me was comedy. I was dating a comic. My bartenders, two of them were comics. One of them worked the coat check at Catch, a rising star. And it was just sort of this confluence that was coming at me. And when I broke up with the boyfriend, somebody signed me up to do an open mic. But unbeknownst to them, I had been writing that 5 minutes for years, because I was watching the boyfriend and sitting there and going, I can do this. And it went okay. It went okay. That first open mic went okay. And that's how it started. So it was like this epiphany of like, oh, I was never meant to be an actress, but that didn't mean I wasn't supposed to be a performer. And it didn't mean I had to give up being on stage. My talent laid equally in my writing as it did in my performing. And so once I put those together, it's so interesting because doors just flew open, like real beginner's luck. I mean, I think I did Girls' Night Out at 2 years in. I did some, right? I did stand up, sit down, stand up, shut up, or whatever, whatever it was. On Comedy Central, I did 2 of those shows really quickly, early in my career. And it was just this calm came over me, like, okay, I am where I'm supposed to be.
Nice.
Yeah, and I really didn't feel that ever before. I don't get me wrong, I was pretty successful in the food service realm, but this just felt different.
So you were in your 20s and your 30s at that point?
I started when I was 29, and at the time I was director of catering at the Algonquin.
Oh, wow.
And I had a really great boss, and he came in one day and he goes, "Can we devote like half an hour a day to catering and then the rest comedy?" And I said, I kind of looked at him and he looked at me, and he said, "Let's talk about an exit strategy." I mean, he was the greatest guy ever.
Wow. Wow. As opposed to, here's your exit strategy. Don't let the door hit you.
No, he was great. Because you know what it was? I was doing the job. I was bringing in the numbers. Director of catering runs all the catering, but they also sell it. And my numbers were very good, in part because I had a great crew. Everybody did a good job there.
Right.
So he said, 2 years. Let's have you bow out in 2 years. And I did it. I think I at about 1 year, I kind of was done.
Wow. That's a cool story. I mean, it seems like when people decide they're going to do comedy, it never seems to be, I mean, maybe it's just the way you tell it, but it never seems to be easy, you know? It seems like there's a struggle, there's classes, there's this, there's all these things, but it seems like basically a door opened and you went, "Oh, I'm here. Hello, I'll just go through that door and I'll be a comic." Did it feel like that to you?
It was a cakewalk, Shelley. It was the effort that carried me to the stage. No, it was, you know what? I was trying to make it in a totally male-dominated field, catering.
Of course.
And so then I went to an even, I wouldn't say even more male-dominated, but it didn't faze me to go from working in executive positions in food service to this, because there was actually more of a need for females in comedy at the time. It was, it was, but no, I scraped and I struggled, no question. And about a year and a half of me doing it full time, I did have to get what we call a B job, like just a bread and butter job. And a very great comedian, I'm sure you've spoken, Marla Schultz. So Marla Schultz saved my life because she gave me this great job that I could do and still do comedy. And every Monday night she took my daughter. I was a single mom at the time. And they watched Melrose Place, her and her other roommates, and they ate pizza, and she gave me such a gift. And she's really, one of the biggest supporters for me of my stand-up.
Oh, that's wonderful. I wish I'd known that, because we did have her on the podcast.
Yeah,
and I would have liked to talk to her about that. But nonetheless, now we have you. So since you are both in the business for so long, I have to ask, do you ever get nervous anymore? I mean, like, if you started on, Cory, if you started on Monday, and Leanne, you started on Tuesday, I started a week from next Tuesday. So, I still get nervous. And even if it's not a prestigious show, even if it's a small thing in the back of a bar, like I did on Wednesday, I find myself, as I'm getting ready to go on, I'm still getting like, I don't know if this is such a good idea. So I guess I'm asking, when does that go away?
I don't know. Leanne, what do you think?
Here's what's weird. I don't get necessarily nervous on the shows where they're high stakes, like you said, the more prestigious shows, because they're set up for me to win. And being paid. That always calms the nerves. Especially when they hand you the check or whatever before you go on. That's always very soothing. I would get a little bit more nervous on the bar shows, believe it or not, because okay, now I got to go back to my roots. Now I got to scrap. Now I got to potentially fight for attention. Because the TV's on, and it's like I don't want to work in those environments really anymore, because it's not ideal. Every now and then, though, I will get that, holy crap, I got to go on stage. Like, oh wow, this is real. But it really does for me it goes away, or more accurately, I've learned how to take that fear and make it excitement. Like,
Okay.
instead of, oh my God, look what I'm doing, look what I get to do. And
Right.
I know the rules. I know what to do when I come out on stage. I know if I can get that first joke out and get them on my side and continue to get them on my side, we're going to be okay. So it really is just the habit, that muscle memory of transforming that fear, and then remembering there's nothing as scary to me as working in an office. So
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
So somebody threatens you with a copier. That's all.
So listen, somebody
No.
threatens me with an everyday. I got to see the same people every day, all day. I am terrified. Who wrote this? Stephen King? I can't. I can't.
I remember I was really my wit's end. I think I had it was like several rejections had happened, and I called Judy Gold, and I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And if you know anything about Judy Gold, she's not a delicate flower. And she said, "What is your problem? Do you want to put on pantyhose every morning? Pantyhose and go to a job? Shut the F up and buck up. Come on. You know you're funny. You wouldn't get hired. You pay the rent doing this." And it's so common. Just the thought of those disgusting pantyhose, because this is women of a certain age, so everyone can relate. We used, if you worked in an office, it required several pairs of pantyhose, and it was just,
Don't forget slips,
slip.
pantyhose, slips. I mean, it's a whole different vibe.
And
Yeah.
sensible pumps.
Sensible pumps.
Sensible pump.
I mean,
Well,
yes.
I'm
Sensible
from when you carried your pumps in your bag and you
pumps.
wore sneakers and little bobby socks to
Yes.
work and
Sure.
switched when you got to the office.
Sure. It was just, yeah. So that was really all she needed to say. I'm pretty embarrassed to say, when I get nervous, it's because there's comedians that are either on the show with me or around that I really, really respect, and I want to do well for them. It's terrible. I really should be over this at this point, but if I'm about to go on and I turn my head and Dave Attell is there, or Gary Goldman is there, I do get a little nervous because I want them to see me kill. And 9 times out of 10, I come off stage and they were talking to each other. They were, they paid no attention to me on stage whatsoever.
But now you know how I feel when I walk into new material night at West Side and you're there. Like, oh fuck, Cory's here.
Come on.
Well, first of all, I'm delighted to see you there. It really does. It raises the level of the room, and it's like, yeah, veterans need to work on material as well. I really do love the sort of the headliner playground vibe. I like seeing my peers. I like seeing people I respect, and it's like, ooh, okay, so yeah, let me do this right tonight.
And there's nothing better than killing in front of them. It's like,
yes,
it's just the greatest thing, especially when they can't wait to comment on a joke that you just did.
Yes, which I know I've done with you.
And I've done with you. I've done with, no doubt. So yes, those things make me nervous. And actually, if it's a very big paycheck, Shelley, and I'm doing like a corporate, or I recently had to do something in a town square, and
wow,
and the town square didn't threaten me. It was an okay check. Let's just put it that way. So I really wanted to get worth their while, but I was fine. As soon as I hit the stage, I was fine.
Can I update my answer? Because you said town square and it sent me, my brain just
no,
went
I'm
there.
sorry, Leanne. You only get one answer.
It? Okay, sorry.
Yes, of course. What? Update your answer.
Maybe it's sort of like the bar show vibe. It's environments where it is not ideal for stand-up, because people think they can put stand-up anywhere. And I think that's because they're fans of comedy and they don't really realize what we need in order for this to work. We need focused attention from the audience. We need a sound system that's working. We need lights. We need, depending on the environment, we need an elevated stage. And when you take away any of those very simple requests and elements, it makes our job harder. And the only people they're going to look at and say, oh, they did a terrible job, they're not going to look at the lights. They're not going to look at the sound. They're looking at us. and we failed. And so that's what makes me nervous. Like, how do I have to compensate? I can't just go up and just be me and just rely on the material. I've now got to calibrate for the things that are missing. And that makes me nervous that I'm spinning more plates than I planned.
Okay. Actually, when you said town square, I thought, wait a minute, literally outside in the middle of the town. What are you, the crier? Are you have to give the news of the king
No,
is having a ball?
It was a town with a little bit of a band shell in the center of town that was in a park. And no, but Leanne, they had full on legit sound people. And there was there was a tent and there was another tent. There were tents. When comedians see tents, we know that there's craft services. There are people there to make sure that this is a big event. Okay. So once I saw that, I wasn't so concerned. So yeah, I think if you're going to go in the order, the most important thing is the sound, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Then the next important thing is that it's set in a way that the focus is on the stage. So the chairs are set up and there's an indicator that the focus needs to go to the direction of the stage. And I forget sometimes how important lights are. I did a show the other night and I was in a room where the lights needed to be dimmer for them to feel like they were at a theater. It was a little high school cafeteria. And from the stage, I said, hey, can we just drop the lights a little bit? Nothing. And then I said it about 5 minutes later. I said, it's so great to see everyone, but now I know you're here. Let's drop the lights a little bit. And I don't know whether they ignored me intentionally in the booth or if there was a problem with the lights, because I did see somebody doing something trying to make it work, and it affected the whole show because it was very, very bright.
Yeah.
The
I can see that.
The psychology of comedy. There's a reason why in a theater, when this show gets ready to start, they dim the lights. It's these very, very subtle cues that I guess we've learned in this culture over time of what it means to have a show, whether there's music or not. Like all these little things that you don't think are important are incredibly important that allow us to do what we do even better.
Right. Well, obviously, Leanne, you could teach a seminar on this.
I'm sorry.
Seriously.
I should have ended with welcome to my TED Talk.
Sure, exactly. But I know, Leanne, that you have taught. I know that you've taught comedy because you were nice enough to let me host a graduation show for one of your classes. That was a lot of fun. Cory, have you ever taught anything comedy or stagecraft or anything?
Way too much, yes.
Really?
I retired myself out of teaching because I did it for about 12 years.
Really?
Did it for the Gotham Comedy Club through Andy, through the Manhattan Comedy Club. Great school. If you're interested in trying comedy for the first time, I highly recommend it. And so, it's through the Gotham Comedy Club. I did level 2, which was billed as sort of a writing focused class. And in hindsight, I don't know if that was the right class because I didn't have the patience for the true beginners. And then the level 2 people, they would say, why aren't I, literally they'd be doing comedy like for 6 months. Like, why am I not working in the clubs? And I'd say, how many spots did you do this week? Oh, well, I have a spot next month. And I was like, you're never going to work in the clubs. And they're like, why? And I said, you want the formula? The formula is 7 spots a week. And they'd be like,
and even then there's no guarantee. Even then.
No, first of all, it's 7. You do 7 for a while, then I say ratchet it up to 11 and you're going to see real change. But the amount of discipline and focus and total laser beam, blocking everything else out that it takes to get into the clubs, I don't think people want to do.
Right.
And so it was difficult for me because I do take what I do very, very seriously, and I do take the art form very seriously. I just lacked the patience, Shelley, after a while. So I do private coaching, and I work with some people consistently, and I work with some people less consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. I had to learn. I think I'm better as a coach because I'll sit and I'll watch shows and I'm watching with, okay, if you fix this joke, okay, you didn't finish that joke. Okay, that I think the word you want to say, and I enjoy that. And I'll write notes on a little piece of it. They're probably wondering, who's this Black woman Because if they don't know me, what's this black woman that just fixed my joke and just handed me a piece of paper written in cursive and I can't read it?
That's the main problem.
Yeah, that's the main problem. But yeah, no, the newbies is a lot of patience. It's different levels of patience, and they all want to know when they can be famous.
Right.
Like day one, you built the website already. You haven't written a joke.
The funny thing is, the ones that are really talented and that will heed my advice, I can tell you right away they're going to do it, and they're going to.
Oh yeah.
I remember I had Chloe Hilliard in my class.
Oh yes.
And I think she said something to the tune of, "I'm not feeling very confident about myself." And I said, "You are the only person in this room I am not worried about. You are the only person in this room who is going to be going, you're going to be closing when I'm going to be featuring." And she and
yeah,
it was true.
I call them the hard workers, my worker bees. Like I can tell, Liz Mealy,
proud of them too. The ones that got popped. I'm like Charles McPhee was in my class.
Oh, I love Charles.
And there's some really wonderful.
There are folks who get it, but you plant them anywhere, they're going to do the work. I'm not here for the lazy folks. I'm not here for the folks who want it easy, or your dad is this person. Like, I don't care. Are you going to do the work? And are you going to understand the cycle of this business? Because as you said, sometimes we have heat, sometimes we have the refrigerator. And can you withstand that loop? What it truly means to work for yourself as an independent performing artist. It is not for the faint of heart. Joke writing is only part of it.
Yeah, wow. I think I've learned something, and I described it to somebody that was, not quite in the business. I said, I'm a middle class comic. I have always worked. I'll always be able to pay my bills. I'm putting a second child through college, doing what I do. And even though your neighbor doesn't know my name, in the comedy world, in a very, very small world that I'm in, people do respect me, and that's more than I ever could have hoped for. So, and I think that there's some disappointment to that. Sure, would I have liked would I have liked to have been, someone that sold out the Beacon? Sure, I would have. But I also I've been able to have a balance too. I've been able to have, these two children and a marriage that, is holding up so far. Not wood.
Not wood.
And I've had some great experiences as a performer. So I'm good. I'm good.
You just came back from Europe. You were in Europe for 2 weeks. Is that right?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow. And was that all work, or was there some vacation in there too?
Well, I was working on a what they call a 6-star cruise ship.
Oh.
So I did two. One I did an 8-day in Norway, and I did a 7-day in Greece. But then the travel tacked on, it ended up being 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
Nice.
That's great.
Okay, so you have an assortment, Cory, of TV credits and specials, and you have a new one, which is available on YouTube, Apple, Comedy Dynamics, and it's called Antique Joke Show.
Yeah, it's actually the easiest place to watch it is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, Antique Joke Show. I again, you don't know when they call. They're like, "Would you like to do a special?" And I'm like, "Who is this?"
It's Shelley. Would you like to do a special? No, but so please tell me about the first of all, Antique Joke Show, great name, also perfect for this podcast.
Yes.
Because that's kind of how I feel this is sometimes. Antique jokes. Certainly mine. I've got a joke book that's like 2 inches thick, 3 inches thick, and it's all old jokes. And I'm not throwing it away because I think they're funny. But so somebody called you up and said you want to do a special, and it was somebody who actually could do a special.
Yeah, and it was just coming out of the pandemic, so they were still limiting like the number of people in a room and whatnot. And it just, I don't know, it was a nice evening, and a lot of people that normally wouldn't come to see me in Manhattan because we taped it in New Jersey. And I didn't realize what a gift that was going to be, because there's a lot of people in New Jersey who don't want to come into the city. And so they were like, "Oh, she says, whatever it was, I think it was a Friday night, we'll go," And so I had a fair number of people in the room that were there for me, and I made all the difference. It was good. It was good.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Great.
And then it was picked up. Then it was picked up by Comedy Dynamics. So I didn't know that it was going to have, that pedigree.
Oh, okay. So all of the people in New Jersey who don't want to come to New York are equaled by the people in New York who don't want to go to New Jersey. And I include myself as one of those people. But I mean, I live in Brooklyn. I have to cross 2 rivers. What am I?
Yeah, it's not.
Come on. What am I, an orca? I'm going to swim? No. And then there was another thing that I found that I don't actually know what this is. You can tell me. Don't tell Jerry Lewis women are funny. What is that?
So I was in the room when Jerry Lewis famously said, I don't find any women funny. And it was the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival. And it just had an impact on me because, he's Jerry Lewis. And I grew up, I'm a Jewish kid. My father was a busboy at Brown's, which is a Catskills, old Catskills hotel. And it was also the Jerry Lewis, the beginnings of his career were there. So I just always thought he was like one of us. He was like in my sphere of people that I considered family in my fantasy world, that he was a comedy icon for us. And then when he said that, it was tough. And it was a particularly weird thing to say because it was a mega year for women at the festival. Catherine O'Hara was being honored. Sarah Silverman had a show. Caroline Ray had a show. Judy was there, Judy Gold. It was just, there was an enormous number of women. It was Tina Fey and Rachel Dratch. Their sketch show was there before they got Saturday Night Live. I mean, it was an epic year for women, and it just seemed like the tide was changing, and it just felt very equal. And so he said this in the middle of a ballroom, and it was very interesting because as soon as he said it, Martin Short was interviewing him, and he really was a fan of Jerry Lewis. So he did everything he could to try to let Jerry, dig out of it. He said, but of course, you were so close to Lucille Ball, you probably think she's funny. And, he didn't take the bait. Jerry Lewis said, no. He said, when I think of a woman on stage doing comedy, and he made the sound of putting a fart sound on your hand. Yeah. I don't need to see that because when I see a woman, I see a baby maker.
Oh, wow. I had never heard the whole thing. That's disturbing
and who has
stunning.
More of a sense of humor than a mother?
then the next day, the absolute best was Margaret Cho. They interviewed her reaction, and she said, I may be a baby maker. In France, I'm a baby making machine. Because he's huge in France.
Yes.
It was really weird. By the end of that interview thing, there was maybe 15 people in this ginormous ballroom. He walked the room.
Wow!
Congratulations to the room for walking.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
That's vote with your feet.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I took that experience and I made it into sort of a one-person show-ish thing, and I went through all the women that paved the way and that were all somewhat contemporaries of Jerry Lewis, and I feature rare footage and some still photos and recordings, and I talk about why they were relevant and why they sort of gave him a run for the money.
It was kind of a multimedia thing.
Yeah, it was a multimedia thing. And I was primarily trying to do it for, Women's History Month in schools. And it ended up being more something that JCCs and Hadassahs hired me to do. Oh. But I liked doing it. It was good.
You still doing it?
No, well, if someone hired me to do it, I would do it. I still have all the materials. It's a little weird. I liked doing it when he was still alive.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Wow. I was a Jerry Lewis fan growing up too. I mean, anybody who's silly and funny, I just loved. And when I heard that he had said that, it was really a shock in a way, but it also wasn't, because there are so many people, so many men who have always said, women aren't funny. And just to hear him say it, I thought, wow, okay, Jerry, we got to rethink our relationship now.
And he didn't say it in a joking way. He was very, very serious.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't have to say everything that's on your mind. You really don't. You really don't. So,
I
oh
don't know
well.
though. In a weird way, it was a magnet for other guys to agree with him. So we got to sort of see who was, in our court and who wasn't.
Right.
It had
Who
its,
are the other
it,
incels? Raise your hand, please.
it was very interesting. It was a very interesting time.
Now, I was looking, Cory, at your website, which is always interesting to me because there's usually one thing that catches my eye, in addition to, of course, all your videos and stuff. But there was something where I think it's on the page that says what services you offer, and it says available for restaurant referrals. So if somebody calls you up and says, Cory, I want to take my mom out to dinner for Mother's Day, where should
Oh,
we
yeah.
go?
I think that you should actually do a high tea. And there's a hotel in Nomad, which is Nomad is north of Madison, right?
Mm-hmm. So
And
it sounds good to me.
the name of the place is going to sound weird, but it's Nabalyabuz or Nabalyabuz, and it's a spectacular view of downtown from a very high floor, and they have the greatest high tea in New York right now.
So you actually do know every restaurant in New York City.
No, but I'm a good referrer.
Okay.
If you tell me it's this, it's a bridal shower, it's a bunch of girls from work, I'll say, you know what, you should do Restoration Hardware. They have a big table and it overlooks the river and it's nice. And it's all girly food, lots of salads.
Wait a minute, there's a restaurant called Restoration Hardware?
Yeah.
It's in the meat market.
Oh.
So 14th Street west of 9th.
Okay.
And and Restoration Hardware has a restaurant on the top floor, and it's pretty swanky. It's very good, and it's for fussy. It's a girly kind of a place.
Wow.
I love that you know your strengths and where you shine. That's awesome. Enough to put on a web. I think if I were like, okay, if you want to talk about Star Trek, shoot me a question.
Yeah. I'm really obsessed with all the social media people that call themselves experts in restaurants, especially, in New York. And you can tell which ones are getting paid to do it,
Mm-hmm.
establishments, because there's a couple that I've really taken their advice and I've gone, and it really has been subpar. And I've written to them and said, listen, I think your videos are great, but did you really eat there? And furthermore, are you being paid to recommend it? Because it's not really as good as you say. And then there's a couple that I know for sure are really, they have integrity.
Integral. What? Say that word. Is that a word? This is a new word for me. I'm gonna write. How do you spell that?
Integrity.
Just like it sounds.
Integrity.
So this actually could be another income stream for you, Cory.
Oh, I don't know. I think if it becomes an income stream, I'll probably
Stop doing it.
become jaded.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we can't have that.
The idea that we have to monetize every single thing we're interested in is part of the problem.
Yes. But I went to cooking school, Shelley. This is years ago, and I'm a really good cook. Cooking is what I do to feel better. Like it grounds me. I came home last night and I made a tomato sauce from scratch with spinach on the side and sausage on the side. Whatever. I made a nice dinner.
Wow.
I went to the farmer's market and I got fresh stuff, and because I hadn't been home in 3 weeks, and it connected me. It grounded me to my apartment.
Ah, I see.
And everybody goes, "Why don't you just put a camera on? Why don't you tape yourself doing it and everything?" And I know it's a smart idea for me to do that, but I just want it to be something that I can do. It's my therapy.
That for me. I cook well enough to not die. I have no illusions that that's where I shine. But my version of that is cleaning and organizing. Like I'll clean before I leave on a trip. And I'll come home, I will unpack, I will do laundry, I will fold, I will put everything away. Like it has to look just so. And that's what grounds me. That's what makes me feel better. And I can fold anything. And I know that sounds wild. I can fold socks. I can fold a fitted sheet. Like I'm that girl, and I just absolutely, I'll watch a folding video on YouTube. Go, oh, I didn't know you could fold pants like that, and then I'll just redo my closet.
Have you
So,
seen the thing with the duvet cover? How you lay it on top and then you unroll it and you can roll it and then unroll it and the duvet covers on it. I'm going to send you a link. It's
please,
the greatest thing you've ever seen.
you just offered to send me porn. Like that is how I see it. Like, ooh,
Wow.
how we folding
Okay,
duvets
I'm just
now.
going to tell you both right now, you are never coming to my apartment. Because either one of you, you'd have a seizure, an aneurysm, because I am your polar opposite, okay? I'm
Okay.
clean, but I am not neat.
Okay, you just threatened me with a good time, hun. I will walk in with my little basket and my Swiffer and be ready to go. You don't understand. That is a good time for me.
Well, I have a birthday coming up, if you want to come over
You
and
sure
clean my apartment.
do.
I emphasize, though, I'm not dirty. I am clean,
No.
but
I
I'm
get
just
it.
not neat.
Well, okay, here's how far down the rabbit hole I am. There is a difference between cleaning and organizing and decluttering. Those are three separate things, and people try to do them all at once and then wonder why they get frustrated. You shouldn't be organizing if you haven't decluttered, and it's hard to clean if you've got clutter. So you kind of have to separate those three things out before, so you can get a handle on what needs to be done.
How often do you think you should declutter? Because I feel like it gets out of control so quickly, but
Yeah.
time also passes so quickly. I think I decluttered 4 years ago. Like during the pandemic, I decluttered, but now it's
Oh yeah. The pandemic was a great time to do that. It should be one of those things that one does regularly. And when I say regularly, you have to figure out your own tolerance, whether it's once a month or once a quarter, because things get out of hand pretty quickly. You come in, you put something down, you think, oh, I'll put that away, but you don't know what away is. And then it sits on the counter and then it becomes invisible. It becomes invisible. Like
Right.
you don't see it until other things then show up. And I cannot claim any credit for this. I follow what's her name? Dana K.
Marie
White, a
Kondo?
slob.
Oh.
No, well, she got me started, but Dana K. White, it has a whole series of books, and it started with a slob comes clean. And she was just trying to get a handle on her house, on her stuff, and she couldn't figure out why she couldn't do it. And she realized she was trying to clean without decluttering. Don't necessarily wait for a major life change because that's when it's overwhelming because you have to do it all at once. Oh, I'm moving. Major life change, huge declutter, huge freak out. Do it a little bit at a time so you don't have the major meltdown and freak out and have to hire somebody. Or if you do, it's still help and not a ground floor total thing. I know I'm to go on. I'm so sorry, but I am very passionate about one's space and where you live, and I can't function in clutter. I can't.
Wow.
I can't. That's how I know I'm stressed if I get up and I start cleaning.
Listen, I love that you've got something that grounds you. In a way, we have similar things that ground us. They're very domestic things. Let's be honest.
Yeah. We're not meeting up with a group of our friends and going, hey, how can we overthrow the government? We're not doing that.
I've never experienced the runner's high, so I don't know what that is.
I will say folding a fitted sheet and then making it a sheet pack where the pillowcases and the fitted sheet are inside of the other sheet and it's a whole pack. Oh my God.
I don't know. I think it may be time for an intervention. Okay. You may have crossed a line here, Leanne. You may have to gather your friends.
I'll dial it back.
Just come over to your house and de-alphabetize your books. Just that one thing. Oh my God. I wish you could see her face.
Well,
Okay.
some people alphabetize, some people go by size of book, some people go by style of book, whether it's your paperbacks or your hardcover. So it's what appeals to your book sensibility.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That was a lot of me. That was a lot of me right there.
Well, what I think is interesting here is that you both have this focus about, it seems like everything, whatever you're into, you are able to zero in on, like laser, be it comedy or cleaning or cooking. That seems to be quite a valuable Like you can't do without that. That's what you need to have.
Right. I was not a great student. And that isn't to say I didn't love, I didn't love reading, I didn't love learning, but I didn't, school was not a thing for me. And when I started cooking, because that was sort of like the first thing I did that was school oriented, it brought a lot of satisfaction for me. And I think that a lot of people with ADHD who didn't love school are incredibly funny. And that's why you see almost all the comedians that I gravitate towards have a little bit of ADHD. But that's the interesting thing about ADHD. If we find something we're passionate about, laser beam focus is not the problem. If
Yeah,
anything,
that's what I'm
if
seeing.
anything, people need to sometimes pull us away and say, "Okay, enough."
Yeah, Leanne.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I totally agree.
But it's useful in the current comedy atmosphere because the whole idea of social media, you have to take that laser focus and turn it now towards social media. And I know, Cory, that you have a lot of things on Instagram. You have a Tuesdays with Cory. It doesn't look like, and I don't mean this as an insult, but it doesn't look like much, It's just I guess it's a story. I'm not really good with Instagram, so I don't know what things are called, but it's a picture of you that pops up and then like a 6 or 7 word sentence that's like your wisdom for the day. And it's every Tuesday, and that's got to take a lot of focus, even though it's such a small thing. How long have you been doing that?
Been doing it, I guess, about a year and a half. The guy that does my social media, there are many Monday nights where he's like, "Do I have a Tuesday with Cory?"
Oh.
And it's morphed. It's still called Tuesdays with Cory, but now I've changed it to OLW, which is Old Lady Wisdom.
Oh.
And it's things that you wouldn't really know unless you got to my age.
I hate to say it, but I'm past your age, Cory, and I still don't know those things.
Well, here's a good piece of old lady advice. Living in New York, you just really need a good purse and a good coat. Because if you've got a good purse and a good coat, people think you're doing okay.
All right.
And that's where you should spend your money. Like in LA, it's very hard. You can't lie that your career is going great because they see your car. But that's why I love New York. You just, as long as you have a good purse, and I don't mean expensive. It doesn't have to be a Birkin. Just a nice purse. It should be clean. It should be a decent looking purse and a good coat. Everybody thinks you're doing fine.
And the purse, because I'm a purse person, a handbag person. You got to have the pockets for your water bottle. You got to have the top that zippers. If it's an open top bag, you're just asking to get your pocket pics. Like, I don't even understand what we're doing here. We're not going to the beach or in the city. I'm going to rob you if you have the wrong kind of bag. So I just popped over to your Instagram because I love the idea. Here's what I hate about social media. I don't want to be on camera all the effing time. I just don't. I like just doing like a picture and a joke over it or audio. Do you do video or do you do audio or do you do a combination?
If you go to my Instagram page, it's 99% stand up. It really is.
Okay.
And fortunately, there seems to be enough that people can, grab a 30 seconds of my stand up. And so that's what it's primarily, The Tuesdays with Cory is great because it's 3 pictures of me and then whatever the trending audio music that's playing on Instagram. And so it's funny because I hear from a lot of people they really like the Tuesdays with Cory, and then I'll look and see how it did, and nobody liked it.
Yeah. I'm actually reevaluating my relationship with social media right now. I know it's necessary, but it's like if y'all don't know me by now, I'm like my top videos are pinned on my Instagram. Like what more do y'all need? I don't work for Zuckerberg. Oh, thank you. Like y'all are not contributing to my retirement plan, my healthcare plan. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting question. Have either of you ever thought about retiring from comedy? That's a yes and a no. It's a yes from Cory and a no from Leanne.
No, I just assumed I would either die on stage or in my dressing room or in the hotel later that night. I mean, I didn't have a retirement. I never thought I'd be this age. Like like in my head, I'm still like 27 and a half. Like I am stunned to be here. Like there must be some mistake. There's an accounting error somehow. What the fuck happened? I want to see a manager.
I used to think like Leanne that I'd sort of just keep going until the end. But every so often I will see a comedian that's doing stand up, say over the age of 75, and I don't love the look.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's there's a comic or two that still do the cruise ships, and you can see it's a lot for them to be schlepping their bag over the lip of this and from the plane to the cab to the thing, and I think and they look worse for wear.
Yes. That does worry me.
I do think for me there's probably going to be an end to cruise ships for sure. That's the first thing. And then I'm going to want to, do things that are much more centrally located. Like the tri-state area I can probably do for a long, long time, but I don't know. I'd like to say I don't want the business to retire me. And so that's what I'm worried about.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had a gig in Tennessee, and same time zone, but every time I'm out there in the airport, I'm like, you got to be in shape to lug your bag, to hustle from one terminal to another. Like you got to be so on it, and it has gotten a little bit more tiring, and I need more recovery time. Like I would come back from a gig and then pop into the city and do something. No.
Yeah.
No, that is not happening.
I used to be a same day fly in, do the gig, and fly home the next day. Now I take the 2 nights. I used to think it was a complete waste of time, but now I get it.
No. Yeah. You gotta bring me in a day ahead of time. Okay. And then do the gig and then fly out or drive out the next day. I can't hustle like that. I can't put my body through that. I had to finally admit that I need more recovery time.
Me too. There was a comedian who came to me about a year ago and he said, how do you know when it's time to get out? But this wasn't about retiring. He was struggling and he didn't know whether this was the profession for him. And I said, if the phone stops ringing, that's a really good indicator. When the phone stops ringing, that's when you really need to wake up and say, all right, they're not looking for me right now. That's what I'm sort of saying. I'm afraid that that's going to be decided for me. The phone was going to stop ringing.
Yeah.
But I don't think so far it's still ringing. So thank God.
I disagree because I think it's very cyclical. There's moments when the phone is ringing and you're on the rise and you're hot, and then there's the inevitable, okay, the phone's not ringing as much, and that's when, if you're still interested in doing it, you've still got to continue to make a way. You've got to go, okay, what's my next thing? What am I doing? Because if I waited on the industry, I wouldn't have written 2 books. I wrote a book because I was mad at the industry that I wasn't getting called. That's how I got into corporate training, because I was acting and then I got called to do corporate training, which I don't particularly like doing it, but I'm good at it. And it lets me go, no, I'm not doing this bar gig, because it gives me just a little bit of space financially to fall back in love with stand-up, because the industry, it is not validating, it is not supportive, and if you wait for it to do that for you, you're going to be in for heartache. Now, I'm separating the industry from the audience. If the audiences are still digging what I'm doing and I'm able to convey my thoughts in a funny way and walk into almost any room and do well, that's good. When that stops happening, when I'm not connecting with the audiences, when it's not clicking and it's consistently not clicking, then I got to look into driving for Uber.
Wow.
And Lyft. I like Lyft better. But yeah.
Well, you can, when the audiences, if the audiences were ever to stop laughing, you could always just offer to go to their homes and clean.
Wow. Is that racist? You want me to be a cleaner lady? God damn it, Shelley.
Yes, that's
Shelley,
right.
You could have said organized. You blew it. That was a bad call. Organized.
People have asked me, because I used to do videos about organizing and cleaning and whatever, and people are like, can you come to my house and do that for me? And no, the answer is no, because whatever system I devise for you, it's not organic to you. you're not going to maintain it. Now that shouldn't be my issue, but I have a problem taking people's money if I know what I'm not going to, if what I'm going to do for you is not a sustainable thing for you to carry on. So,
okay, I have insulted you. I'm sorry. It was not intentional.
that was, but well done, Shelley. Well done. No birthday present for you.
I do think about like, for example, if you said to me, all right, what would be like the job that you could do sort of like to ride out the last few years of your, like, I would love, here's the fantasy, like for a really fancy, nice retirement community, maybe be in Boca Raton, maybe in West Palm Beach, and they give me a place to live and I book the entertainment for the whole community.
Oh,
okay.
A discounted place to live, something like that, and an okay salary. I could see that being sort of like the swan song out. So I'd still be somewhat in the business, but it would be more from a perspective of bringing in the entertainment.
I think I would have to leave.
You hate
because I wouldn't want to become the booker I've always hated. Like, oh, they used to do comedy and now they're bitter and they're mean. Because there are a lot of those. There are a lot of those people that tried comedy and they only loved it when they were doing it, and they feel they're now they have this power over comedians and they're being terrible people. And I don't want to be that.
I could easily be that bitch. I could easily.
Yes, I usually could. Like they show up like, that's what you're wearing to do a show? Shorts you're wearing? Okay.
Could you imagine though? I used to work with.
Oh God. Yes, I would be that comic. I used to work with Chris Rock when he was just a pebble. Like, what? What is happening?
I used to introduce Jerry Seinfeld.
You know, I'm the one who told him he should do a show about nothing. And what did I get for it?
Nothing. All right. I'm going to stop you right there because I have kept you for a long time here. So let's promote. Leanne Lord, veryfunnylady.com. What do you got coming up, Leanne, in the next, month?
Next month or so, I'll have multiple appearances at West Side Comedy Club, my default home club in the city. But check out veryfunnylady.com. My schedule is up there. And would love to see you in the audience. And if you are not a goer outer, but more of a sit home and reader, please subscribe to my Substack. That's another form for my comedy. And if you enjoy it in the written form.
Wonderful. And Cory Kahaney, CoryKahaney.com. That's CoryKahaney.com. And I had to spell it because I kept putting extra E's in your name, which people keep putting extra E's in my name. So I feel bad for doing that to you. But Cory, what's coming up for you?
So I've got some things. Well, first of all, please go to my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Facebook and follow me. I do put a lot of content. It's a lot of fun.
That's true.
And let's see, I'm going to be at the Broadway Comedy Club on the 21st and the 28th.
But the Broadway Comedy Club, that's in August, is that correct?
August 22nd, August 21st, August 28th, I'll be there. Okay. And I should also be at West Side as well that night.
I don't know, I've lost track. All right.
Yeah,
so,
I can't keep up.
Oh, and watch my special on Amazon. That's the one.
Yes, yes. Antique Joke Show, Cory Kahaney on Amazon and various other platforms, but go to Amazon, it's easiest. And Leanne Lord, very funny lady. She's got all kinds of stuff on YouTube as well. Please check them both out. And of course, check out the Funny Women of a Certain Age tour. It's going to be going across the country in Florida, California, I don't know, Mars. I don't know. I just can't even keep track. But please check it all out, www.funnywomenofAcertainage.com. Thank you very much for listening. And this will be up in second week in August, I believe. And if not, I'll let you know. Okay?
Thank you.
Everybody say bye.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.